What's up, everybody? On a podcast now. I'm Alex, and in this video, we're going to be ranking every single Bioshock game. Now, this is part of my idea to do more of these ranking-like videos. So if you guys like this, if you want to see me rank more things in games, in movies, in anything, in any kind of medium, let me know, and I can definitely do that in the future. This is kind of like the pioneer episode, although we have ranked different things, Star Wars, Pirates movies, in the past. Let's talk about Bioshock. Now, I honestly think my list is going to be pretty controversial with you guys. I don't think you guys are going to agree with me, but hear me out. Let me try to explain my order. We're going to go from best to worst. We're going to change things up. We're going to go from the best game to the worst game. The best game is Bioshock Infinite. Now, this is going to be, honestly, a surprise to many. I believe Bioshock 1 is oftentimes referred to or looked at as not only the best Bioshock game, but one of the best games ever created. And here's what I'll say. I had played all three of these games in the past. I actually played Bioshock 1 and Infinite. I never played 2 before. So I played Bioshock 1 and Infinite a long time ago, right? Recently, I've gone back and I have played all three back to back to back, literally one directly after another. I've beaten all three, including all the DLC, Minerva's Dead, Burial at Sea, all that stuff. I played all of that within probably like a 3-week span. I played all three Bioshocks. In my opinion, Bioshock Infinite is not only the most fun to me, I like the combat the most. I agree that it doesn't exactly work, that the kind of stealthy, like you're not supposed to be fighting that many people combat style of Bioshock, the fact that they basically kept those mechanics and yet gave you tons of enemies to fight against, I get that that is a major problem in Infinite, but I enjoy the combat. I enjoy having Elizabeth at my side. More than anything, I do enjoy that dynamic. I do think that dynamic is honestly amazing. I think it's one of the best dynamics in gaming. It was in that kind of era with The Last of Us where, strong female that can carry her, can carry herself. You don't have to protect her. Now, she doesn't fight. She stays hidden. She's not going to alert enemies, anything like that. But she helps you out. And again, just the dynamic, just having you guys talk back and forth, and especially the fact that Booker is a person and can talk. I feel like he's more of a character than any of the characters in the past games, and even Elizabeth. Elizabeth, I think, is fully realized. I think she's a phenomenal character, and even in the Burial at Sea, the 2 DLCs, I think even more so. I honestly feel like I care about her as an individual even more after all of that, and I can't say the same thing about the characters of the other 2 games. One of the last things I'll say about Infinite, a big reason of it is Booker, is Elizabeth, is that dynamic, is I just love those 2 characters. I love, again, them being able to talk to each other. I think they're just really good characters in the first place. The story and Columbia, I honestly feel like in a lot of ways I like Columbia more than Rapture. I think it's very, very beautiful. I love the time period. I like what they're trying to pull off there. Now, it's a very serious storyline and very serious things that are happening, and I'll be honest with you, the very first time I played Bioshock Infinite, I had not a clue, not a single clue what was going on. I couldn't comprehend it. I had to read article after article explaining the story afterwards. Going back into it a few weeks ago, I had remembered some of the stuff, but not all of it. And then I looked up basically the entire story, all of the deep dives, everything that happens, how it connects to Bioshock, how it connects to Bioshock 2. I did all of that leading in to me replaying Infinite. And having that understanding and having that knowledge, I feel like, yes, it is flawed because I really don't think you're going to get all of what the game is trying to do in one playthrough. I think you'd have to play it multiple times. I think you'd have to pay extremely close attention to all of the audio logs, to everything that any character says in that game. You need to pay attention to all of it, and you need to really think critically in order to understand it. That is a flaw. But truly, what the story is and the timeline and the dynamic of everything, I'm not going to get into like the history of Bioshock, but I do honestly feel like I have a very good grasp of everything that happened in all 3 of these games. I love it. I love the story of Infinite. I love the multiple, universes. I love the story of Booker and Comstock and Elizabeth and how Rapture is intertwined and all that and how it connects to Bioshock 1. I adore it. I honestly do. It's very special. It's very good. Is it hard to understand, and is it next to impossible to get it all in your first playthrough? Yes, and I get it. there's a lot of flaws. To be honest with you, I think Bioshock as a series is a very flawed series in the first place. There are so many amazing things. The strengths of these games are literally just so insanely strong, but I do think there is a lot of problems. So yes, Bioshock Infinite is my favorite, but I do understand there's a lot of holes you could poke in it. And by the way, I completely understand why you would maybe say that Bioshock is a better game. Number 2 is Bioshock. It's pretty easy because there's only 2 left, Bioshock and Bioshock 2. Bioshock is special. Honestly, it's still special now. A lot of the stuff still holds up remarkably well. Again, the story, I don't even necessarily think you'd get that story in the first playthrough. What makes Bioshock 1 so special, I believe, is 2 things. The story and Rapture and the world around Rapture. Those are the 2 things. I think the story, again, once you understand it, once you get what's happening, once you start to understand what these characters are doing and what happened here and what your goal is and where you're going with it, it's very special. It's in my opinion, it doesn't reach the heights of Infinite, although I feel like it's probably a lot easier to grasp Bioshock than Bioshock. Again, that's just my personal opinion, but I think it's just easier to grasp it than Infinite. And Rapture is such an amazing place. It truly is. And you have to also remember this was a 2007 game, very old game, but still, I was playing the Bioshock collection, holds up remarkably well. Obviously, they did a lot of things to help it hold up, but it does hold. The basic idea of what you're doing does hold up. The combat is very bad. Okay, the boss fight at the end with Atlas is awful, is god awful, but taken with a grain of salt, I think the combat actually does work for almost the entire game. The plasmids, all that kind of stuff works extremely well. It's definitely a game where you don't want to have a firefight with all these different enemies. You don't want to fight multiple big daddies at the same time. Again, seeing the big daddy, seeing the little sisters, seeing Rapture, seeing the entire city, seeing what really happened to this place and experiencing that, it is special. It's I'm not taking anything away from it. It is a very, very special game that I love. I love Bioshock, but the combat does get me. It's slow-paced. It's very, in my opinion, repetitive. You constantly go to the same place over and over again. You're backtracking a lot. I get it. Games do that. A lot of games do that. I feel like it was very unnecessary with Bioshock. It's only like an 8-9 hour game, but honestly, it feels like it was like 1,000 hours. And, there are some problems. I love the game. I wouldn't say it's like one of my favorite games of all time. And again, I don't think it's the best game. I guess my favorite game in the Bioshock franchise. I do think there's some flaws with it. At the same time, when it came out, it was a revolutionary game. I think even looking back, I'm never going to take that away from it, and nothing can ever do that in the first place, by the way. It's a game that set a pioneer and set a standard for a lot of different things in games, and it deserves all the credit in the world for doing it. And it, again, tells a really solid story, a really amazing world. Just think about Rapture. Rapture is pretty much its own character, just like all of them. I think Columbia is 100% its own character in Infinite as well, but Rapture obviously started it all. And in terms of that kind of thing, in terms of the world being like more than just a world, I think that is one of the biggest things that Bioshock did. And coming in at number 3 is Bioshock 2. I don't hate this game. I don't even think it's a bad or average game. I think it's a good game. I think it's definitely an above average game, but I will honestly not give it anything more than that. I know a lot of people are going back to Bioshock 2, especially because, the Bioshock collection was free for PlayStation Plus a few months ago. I think last month, maybe 2 months ago. So people, went back and played it, and I get that there's a lot of appreciation for Bioshock 2 now. A lot of people are going back and saying, you know what, it was given a bad rap at the time. And you know what? It absolutely was. I remember I wasn't even into the gaming industry that much, but I do remember Bioshock 2 coming out and a lot of people bagging on it because it was just, well, in my opinion, here's what it actually was. It is a really good game. It's so much a retread of Bioshock. I think that's its biggest problem. There are so many things improved, and to be honest with you, there's a lot of small mechanics that I don't even know if you would recognize if you waited, the 3 years in between these two games. But if you play them now, like I finished Bioshock and I started Bioshock 2, I believe right after, like literally like 20 minutes after in the same day. And to be honest with you, when playing through Bioshock 2, I kept telling my fiance, I feel like I'm playing 1 again. That's all it is. Like, I feel like I'm literally not enough. So, yes, there are small things that have changed, like how you hack. There are a lot of things that have changed, but they're small. Some of them are like, better than others, right? Like, they make more of an impact than others. And I get that. I will give it that. But at the same time, I think as an overall base game, it feels gameplay-wise and how you're doing things, and again, going back to places you've already been and stuff like that, it's such a retread where if you do play these two games back-to-back, you will burn out. I actually think you will burn out. I burnt out of Bioshock 2. I had to take a couple days that I just didn't play it because I was playing them every single day I was jumping into these games. I had to take a couple day break because I just felt like I was continuing Bioshock 1. The story is honestly, I mean, in my opinion, it's absolutely the weakest. The character is the weakest out of any of these games. I think by a long, long mile. I just didn't. Maybe it was because it felt so much like a retread of 1 that I just didn't care as much for the story, whereas 1, I really wanted to try and take it all in. Infinite, I'm always trying to understand it. I love the characters in the story, so I'm really trying to pay attention. Something with Bioshock 2, just in my head, I'm like, I don't care as much. And not just that, I just don't think the story is as engaging. I think the allure of Rapture kind of loses its luster. I don't feel like it's as special the second time around. I don't think the character is that. I like the change up. I like being the Big Daddy. I like all the changes that provides to you, but ultimately, I just don't think it does enough where it just feels too much like 1, but it lacks anything special about 1 or about this. And you could argue, because again, I think a lot of people think Infinite is the worst game. I think there are parts of Infinite that are definitely the worst, but I think as a whole, I don't know how you could play Bioshock 2 over Infinite. I really don't. I think Bioshock 2 is a much weaker game. I don't hate it, but I will tell you this, and again, I think it's a good game, but I'll tell you this, I don't think I'd ever play Bioshock 2 again. Bioshock 1, again, while a lot of things do hold up, a lot of things also are very outdated. I think I would actually still go back and replay Bioshock, and I know I would go back and play Infinite a second time, or actually a third time at this point again. Bioshock 2, I just could never, like right now, talking to you guys, maybe we could look back in like 3 years, I can go back to this video and say, hey, I'm playing Bioshock 2 right now. As of right now, I just really don't see myself ever jumping back into Bioshock 2. Maybe I do when the new Bioshock comes out. Maybe I want to replay these 3 games again. Maybe we'll revisit this kind of discussion of which game is better when the new Bioshock comes out. But guys, let me know in the comments below. What do you think? What is your ranking of the 3 Bioshock games? What do you think of the DLCs? Minerva's Den, Burial at Sea. Let me know. Again, let me know if you guys want me to do this kind of thing with more things. I'd love to rank different games. I'd love to rank different movies. We love doing it. We've done it before with a couple different movie franchises. We could always re-update those. I've been thinking about doing that for Pirates. There's a lot of things we could do, so let me know if you guys like this kind of stuff. Make sure you guys subscribe to our YouTube channel, Podcast Now. Hit the bell icon so you guys know when these videos go up. And thank you again so much for watching, guys. Stay safe out there. Be well, and we're all in this fight together. If you guys need us, you can reach us on YouTube, Discord, Twitter, all that kind of stuff. We're all here for each other, okay? Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you on the next video.